Welcome to the Clyde FC Podcast, brought to you by A State of Mind. I am delighted to say we are back for the new season, and with me, as always, I have my right-hand men, Craig Black and John Boyce. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
On you, good.
Aye, good. Glad to be back.
Full of positivity.
Yes, we're looking for some positive vibes to carry us into the new season that lies in wake. We are just 4 days, my maths is terrible, 4 days away from our first competitive fixture of the new season at home to Stranraer in the League Cup, or the Premier Sports Cup as it's now called. And before that though, we do have quite a bit to cover. We've got a lot of pre-season activity, your incomings, your outgoings, your pre-season friendlies and all that fun stuff to boot. First of all, gents, how are we feeling? Craig, we'll come to yourself. In general terms, with the overall kind of incomings and outgoings of the squad?
Well, I don't think any of us were want to see any players leave, because it pulls at heartstrings a wee bit with some of them in particular, doesn't it? But that's football, we need to move on, but I'm quite pleased with the acquisitions that he's brought in so far. I think we look a stronger, bigger, more physical team. I think the kind of teams that we've been playing against and struggling against, we're starting to look more like that, which I think will keep us more capable for and no disrespect to anybody, the Peterheads, the Dumbartons and what have you.
Absolutely, got to agree, Craig. From the beginning of the transfer window, it was maybe a bit slow for most Clyde fans. I think we'd like to see maybe 20 players come in that first day, but at the moment, 11 new players, they're all looking good, they're all looking physical. From anyone that watched the pre-season tournament at the weekend, that midfield is much improved, and we're playing some very attractive football, which I'm sure we'll cover. So for me, very physical boys, a good change from last season, and we're looking good. Also, Conrad Ballatoni, one that maybe didn't catch the eye when he signed, but I think his leadership qualities at the back will stand us in good stead for the season ahead.
Yeah, definitely, Boyce, and we will cover quite a majority of the new signings, I think, in a wee bit of depth, looking at the problematic areas, which most fans were in agreement with, and how these guys are going to fit in to hopefully solve those issues going forward. So, Craig, you mentioned obviously the fact that you don't like seeing guys leave. There are only 9 squad players remaining out of last year's. Out of that, we have said goodbye to the remaining 4 squad players from the promotion winning season. Now, that obviously comes with a bit of a sadness, as you say. These guys are down of Clyde folklore. Guys like Mark McNiff, Tom Lang, Mark Lamont, and Big Norrie, Christoph Sivertson. So, yeah, obviously these guys go with their thanks, but football is an ever-changing landscape. It never stops.
Yeah, it's different nowadays, where you can keep following these guys on Instagram and Twitter, and you can see where they're going, and at least they're getting fixed up with clubs, and some of them have moved into really good moves for them. But you're going to miss the guys.
Yeah, it's good to see them get clubs first and foremost. We don't wish them not to get anywhere, so that's good to see. On the progression of the club, I think, yes, we need to thank them for their contributions for the historic promotion that we got. 10 years in the bottom league, it's going to be special, and you always have the ties with those players. But if we want to progress as a club, we've really got to be looking at bringing in players that will help take us to the next level. And I think that's where we can see we've started this season. So very exciting stuff. I see one of our regular listeners, Martin, good evening, mate, says, what's the story with Christoph? So I think most of us will have seen that he's signed for Dumbarton. And hopefully he has a good season with them. Obviously had a lot of injuries and stuff, so wish him all the best, but just not against us.
Yeah, 4 games aside, we wish you all the best, Big Norrie. So let's break it down. The incomings, there have been many, 11, albeit one has already parted with the club, with Harry Robinson moving to Dubai for a work opportunity. So we obviously wish Harry all the best. Well, I think it's the main focus for me, the defence. The defence was, I don't think it's unfair to say, a major issue at points last year. We would concede one, it invariably led to two, if not three. So far less surprising to see that at least 5 of the incoming players are defensive-minded players, Boyce.
Yeah, definitely. Got to agree with you there. I think defence and, that defensive midfielder slot were key this summer to, get... I think there was maybe a replacement for Ray Grant needed a couple of seasons too late. So, yeah, central defence, we've got Conrad Ballatoni, who, 206 appearances in the SPL and the Championship under his belt. He's got that experience. He's got that leadership from being the captain of Edinburgh City. He took Edinburgh, or helped lead Edinburgh to, a couple of playoff spots, which is great for them and just shows you what kind of character he is. I was actually speaking to a Partick Thistle fan in my work who was really surprised that we were able to get Ballatoni, and said when he was at Thistle, he was the first one to kind of come out and want to train. He was always very vocal. He was always very, passionate about football. I think that's really something that we need at the back. Craig, do you think that Conrad's going to be a good man for us?
I think without a doubt, he's got a kind of degree of calmness about him when he's got the ball. It's not just, right, let's just run and hit it, or find a 45, 50 yard cross ball, worldly pass. He'll take the ball, he'll find himself some space, some time, and just lay it off sometimes, just play the easy ball with the guy next to him. His experience was something I think we really, really lacked, and I think that's shown with the signings that Danny's went for and managed to get throughout the various different positions in the team. He's went to get a kind of bed of experience in there.
So yeah, 3 of the 5 signings that are either out and out defenders, or in the case of, say, Mark Docherty, he can play a number of positions, left back. I believe he's even filled in at centre half in one of the pre-season friendlies. More known as a midfielder, but between those 3 players, have got over 800 league appearances in and around the Championship, League 1, League 2 level. That type of experience we simply just did not have in recent times. We've had experienced players. We've got David Goodwillie, we've got Ali Love, but we didn't have it in every single position where we really, really needed it. When you look back to, say, January to March time, obviously with the kind of elongated winter transfer window due to the shutdown, the emphasis was one way or another put on bringing youth players in. That had mixed success. I think that's fair to say, Craig.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you've got a couple that, or one in particular, O2, that completely stood out. He defied his years. He was a man and for an 18-year-old. But there's a couple of other guys that came in, looked very young. They were light, or they seem to be light against the physical presence that you're up against in that league. And I think it's taken us a couple of seasons to get into the swing of how this league is going to be and how we're going to need to play against certain teams. Not all the time, but we will have those physical battles. We knew that last season as well. This season, I think we've got the armoury to not just compete against it, but overcome it.
Yeah, I'm just glad we're in the league to be able to, try and sort it. So first and foremost, yeah. Paul, you had touched on the career appearances and stuff. I think Jonathan Page certainly adds to that appearance stat with 300 in his career. One of the things that I kind of like about the signings, we've obviously lost Martin McNiff, who, as a fan favourite, scored a lot of goals. Now, we've replaced some of the defenders with players who can also score at the other end. So Ballatoni's no stranger to a goal. He attacks the ball. Page has over 30 goals in his career so far as a defender. Docherty has a high number of assists. So I think it's important that we have the defenders, but it's good to see that they can also provide at the other end as well. With the McNiff situation and him leaving at left back, we had to replace him. And Adam Livingston, for me, fantastic signing. I think we're very lucky that for whatever reason it didn't work out for him at Cove. And, I was really happy to see him sign on. He's a player who I think is good at defending. He's still young, so obviously learn a wee bit, but going forward, I think he's up there in the league, to be honest. He just looks like a well-rounded player, and I think he's going to be key for us again.
Yeah, and having the likes of your Conrad Ballatonis, Jonathan Page, even to a lesser extent Scott Rumsby, who has a fair amount of experience himself, perhaps not the same level as the other two that we just mentioned, but having these guys helping him, talking him through the game positionally, it's going to improve him. It will help improve him. And Adam was unfortunate with the season that was curtailed due to COVID when he joined us on loan. He was just really kind of beginning to kick on, Boise, I felt. And then obviously, COVID happened and the league was pulled.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think he's definitely going to be key for us. I think the way we're going to play this season that I kind of picked up in the friendlies was we're going to keep the ball moving. There was a lot of shouts just to keep it going. I thought Ali Love, in particular, was fantastic. His shouting and keeping the boys going. That's just the kind of character you get from Ali, really. One player that really stood out for me, though, and talking to you two, I know you'll agree, Morgaro Gomez. What a player! It just looks incredible. Coming deep to get the ball, and then I think as Clyde fans, we've all been maybe frustrated in previous seasons with that second ball in midfield. I can safely say with Gomez in there, I think we've got a chance to win them.
He looks just absolute class. He's got. I think he's the guy. He's the type of guy that we were looking for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
He's going to fill that position, and you've seen it in the couple of games there. It was all over the patch. But
the ball was a magnet to him.
No wasting effort. Don't mean he was running about headless daft. I mean, he was all over the pitch with and without the ball, covering the areas, like soaking up the kind of wee passes. You say, Boise, the second ball that was getting missed or whatever. He's the guy.
Yeah. Maybe not see him in midfield with Kevin Nicol, though. That might. 9 men.
Yeah, that's a disciplinary.
I'm only joking.
Yeah. Couple of points on that. Martin Brown makes a good point. This season to come, that we better no play balls over this midfield. They'll not be very happy. And I think it was something I might have mentioned to possibly John McKinnon on Sunday, talking about you don't bring in a guy like Morgaro Gomez if you're not going to put the ball through him at every opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, alongside Morgaro Gomez, I put it to you, Craig, I think we found a wee gem in Aaron Spillane.
He looks the part. He really does look the part. The two of them together, I was so impressed with over the 2 games, and that's all I've seen of them. Was those 2 games, and I thought the two of them just seemed to almost look as if they've been playing in the same team for seasons. He seems to have the legs to go on and on and on forever. Danny did say that after I can't remember who they were playing in the Tuesday night game.
Wraith
Rovers. Yeah.
His stats were through the roof from that game.
Oh, the wee GPS.
Yeah. I said his stats were unbelievable. So I think you're right. I think we've got a real diamond in the rough for him.
I think it's nice to see we've actually got GPS as well with the wee vests. We're doing well.
I think we've had that for a few seasons. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Just my observational skills.
Alongside, obviously, Aaron Spillane, with having someone like Morgaro Gomez, is that word experience again. Not only is he a very, very good player, but he has that experience. He's been around Scotland, various clubs to the highest level in Scottish football. It was so sorely lacking last year that it crippled us in games. We did manage to negate it slightly with Kevin Nicol coming in. Boise, do you think that could be even more key than the defensive signings that we've made?
No, I really do. Gomez is probably the key player that I think we've signed. We've spoke about the importance of good central defenders, but the way we play last season, we were bypassing the midfield, as Martin says. It was just the long balls up top, and we've got a man for that this season, but we'll get onto that. Gomez, he was coming short, getting the ball, turning about and passing. If he wasn't receiving the ball, he was dragging that opposition player out to relieve that space in the middle to let Spillane come in. And you've said he's a wee gem, Paul. He's a decent sized lad, physically, and I think that will go for us as well, because our midfield's maybe been a bit small compared to the other clubs in the league, and that's maybe where we lose the battles. I think we'll definitely be right up there this season. But Splain, a composed technical midfielder, great range of passing. He's done it at a high level with an unfortunate injury at the end of 2017. Various clubs after that, and Clyde hopefully is where he steps on in his career and really shows what potentially he can have. He's a neat player, saw a nice few wee touches from him and wee turns, but he's always looking for that killer pass. And I did like the number 25 trialist as well at the weekend, so I'm hoping we can get him in, because he looked great alongside. So our midfield's looking good. It's amazing. I love it.
I know it's cautious optimism. I think we have to just remind ourselves it is pre-season. And
I'm up here already.
I know you of all people are going to be through the chart in positivity, but we do need to remember pre-season. We've been here before. We've seen great results in pre-season. Yeah. We've cuffed Hibs 3-0 once, and well, let's just forget what happened that season. So at the same time, the positivity has to kind of increase. We have to really build on what was, in particular against Airdrie, a very, very, very good footballing performance, Craig.
It was an all-round performance for me. I think even the competition that you've got up front now, it's not just going to be relying on David Willie for goals this season, I don't think. I also think that Ali Love in particular is the fittest that I've seen him. I think he looked as if he's been really, really working hard on his level of fitness, and all the guys look in good condition. Considering it's pre-season and considering what they've had to go through from last season, with the stops and starts, and then the 4 million games in the space of 2 weeks, I think that they do look as if they've come back to training for pre-season in right good condition. That's huge advantage for us this season. I think we'll kick on better than we have done. It's been like a few seasons where we tend to pick up in the last third of the campaign. I hope this time we're going to start better.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a few comments as well. Graham Caldwell, kudos for picking up Gomez. Always been a good technical player, also good experience at League One level. Got to agree there. I think he's experienced at the highest level in Scotland. He's played with Birmingham as well, so he knows what he's about. He's 35, 36 now, but still got a good engine. The Rolls Royce of the midfield.
That's your favourite word, engine. You love that word, don't you?
I love an engine in midfield. Conversely, though, Mark Stewart says he thought that it was a waste of money getting Gomez, but concedes he did look good at the weekend. That's an interesting point. Maybe, Mark, you could maybe elaborate on that and see why you thought it was a waste of money, and we can discuss.
I can only assume it's because he's that wee bit older.
Yeah.
35, 36.
Which is absolutely fair,
yeah. He came with not the greatest write-ups from Falkirk fans, but I think obviously Falkirk, I don't just think it was in central midfield that they had issues, particularly last season. Obviously they collapsed from first to somehow managing to avoid the playoffs, which was quite incredible when you look at it. So perhaps there's that kind of baggage with him. But yeah, please do. This is an open channel for every fan. Please get involved. Let us know your thoughts. If you think Aaron Splain might not be as good as what we're talking up, let us know. So we'll put it out there for discussion.
I think one of the other things as well with the type of signings that he's made is we've got different types of game that we can play now. It's we can play passing football, and as we spoke about earlier on, we're not wanting to go over the top in our midfield, but if the need comes, we've got guys there that can do that for us now.
We've got options in every position. There was something I saw online earlier, I can't remember, it was on one of the forums, and it was someone posted up what was essentially what looked like a first and second Clyde 11, and for near enough every position now, we've got at least 2 options. We've got a first and second choice, which again we just have not really had. We've had maybe an overemphasis of certain positions, not enough in maybe key other areas. So yeah, I'm again cautiously optimistic. I see Mark Stewart might be calling you out, Boise, telling you to calm yourself and let's judge things after the first quarter of the season has passed. I would tend to agree with you, Mark, but
I agree. You know, it's not going to be the league's won once we've won the first game, but we've identified where, as Clyde fans, we would like to see that team improved. And I think the vast majority of us will see and agree that has happened. So that's why I'm excited about it.
Right.
Absolutely take your point, Mark. I'm not saying we're going to win the league, but maybe after that.
Saying we're not going to be far off.
I'll be saying something similar. Aye. Second. We'll get second.
So, yeah, the title of the show is What Does the New Season Hold? So, obviously, we are giving it a very positive and optimistic feel. Please let us know, what are your hopes and aspirations for the team this year? Is it mid-table consolidation, or are we looking at trying to really push on and get those promotion playoffs? The league itself this year, we will come back, to the other players, the other incomings. The league this year is probably going to be tougher than it was last year. You've got the addition of Queen's Park, who are full-time, got big hopes themselves of going how far their money may take them. You've still got the likes of Falkirk and many others, Craig. Do you have a kind of idea or an opinion as to where you realistically think we should aim for?
Well, I think first and foremost, I don't think we're looking at the bottom three this time, which is a massive improvement, regardless how much hype and how much positivity we want to spin on it. I don't think any of us are looking at a bottom three. I think realistically we're looking to hit playoffs if we can. Fifth and above is where I'm looking. You know,
certainly an improvement on last season anyway.
Yeah. Fifth and above. Playoffs would be fantastic. League winning would be unbelievable, but let's face it, let's get realistic. I don't think that's going to happen when you've got teams like you say, Falkirk and Queen's Park, who are full time. They will be up there. But I'd be looking for fifth and above.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Falkirk, who, you know, maybe they'll win the league this year. Finally, who knows? But moving forward, Queen's Park, as you say, they've got big aspirations. Cove equally have those aspirations. Airdrie would have been disappointed not to maybe go up in the playoffs. You've got Alloa, who are always one of the better part-time teams in the country. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be tight for those playoffs. I can see it being a really competitive league next year, which will be good for the neutral, obviously. Heart-wrenching for us as we ebb and flow, as we always do. But no, my mindset is you always look to the upper reaches of the league and see where you can go rather than where you might end up. So, yeah, I'd like a top half finish, but I'll reserve any more judgment until I've seen the boys.
One thing we've got still is David Goodwillie as well. He can win winners' games almost on his own.
Listen, we've spent 23 minutes on this already, and how often have we mentioned David Goodwillie? You know, we've got these good players in there. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that spine, the old cliche of the spine of a team. For ourselves, we've got David Mitchell, Conrad Ballatoni, Morgaro Gomez, and David Goodwillie. It's a pretty decent building block for a fairly competitive team. Right. And we've got enough now, I think, in and around them that I think we can upset a few people. A couple of other comments. John Anderson just saying it's great to see that we've brought in different options in attack. Rob Jones looked more than just a target man against Airdrie. So, yeah, moving on from the midfield, a point of discussion within Clyde fans has been maybe a lack of options up front out with David. He has been the talisman, and he's carried that cross fantastically well for how many years now? 4+. He will always score goals, but at the times, especially last year, and the over-reliance on him to almost kind of drag us through matches just from his goals alone. If opposition were scoring 2, we were having to then score 2 to just drag a point. More often than not, we rarely drew last year. So if they were scoring 2, unless Goody bagged 3 or we somehow managed to claw 3 out the bag, it was a defeat. So this year, we've got, I would argue, at least 4 or 5 options in and around the kind of forward areas. So you've got Goody, Rob Jones, then the guys that were already there, Ali Love, Ross Cunningham can play in a kind of advanced role. Craig, do you think we're much better kind of set up front?
Yeah, I think we are. I think that Ross Cunningham, I think, is going to have a cracking season this year. I think he's going to come into his own this year and be a huge player for us. Ali Love, we know what we get with Ali. We know what you get 100% all the time, and he is a voice at that top end of the pitch as well. So, he's a shouter and an organiser and a moaner, but he will help the guys run about him. So no, I think the options that we've got up the top, even with Good Willie and Rob Jones being there as well, it's different. It's different than what we've had for a wee while.
Yeah, what's your kind of take on Rob Jones? I know some Clyde fans were probably looking at his goal to game ratio and kind of going, all right, okay. Do you feel he offers more than that though?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I always look at, we've got Danny Lennon, who is one of the best man managers in the league, and if not just the entire league setup in Scotland. He can get the absolute best out of players. Now, we were talking about Gomez and how some Falkirk fans, maybe didn't rate him at Falkirk. That didn't bother me, because I know he's coming to Danny Lennon. He can motivate anyone to get the best out of them. And with Rob Jones, he maybe didn't have the best setup at Dumbarton for his game. That one lone player up top, that's maybe not his game. Maybe he likes to get the ball into feet, pass it on, have someone up that can do the running for him and support him. With Clyde, I feel that we can give him that. And he's scored, a cheeky back heel. That's all that's going to be described as at the weekend. And then I believe he scored one in a bounce game through the week as well. So he started off scoring goals. I think he's going to be really good for us. Because, again, we've got that plan B now where if things aren't going, David Goodwillie's way, or it's just one of those days really at the office, we can bring on something different and set up differently. And I think that's something that we've really been lacking in the previous few seasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
His hold-up play is going to be crucial. It's not just, he's not going to be a 25 goals striker for us, No. But his hold-up play and his link-up and what he can then do when he gets the ball to hold up and bring that midfield forward for 5, 10, 15 yards, that will be massive. Those influences are massive.
Yeah, Martin brings a good comment as well. Jones will drag defenders with him, opening up the centre. Mm-hmm. That's what I envision as well. I envision maybe a ball into his head, flicks it on, and guess who's running behind with a perfectly timed run for a goal? DG9.
Yep.
So let's hope. On
top of that, I think there was an interview today in one of the papers with Ali. Ali Love talking about how he's got a new role where he's almost kind of playing in a kind of number 10 just off the front 2 position. Having someone that can hold the ball up and link in with that kind of sitting number 10 role, potentially pinging, as you say, passes through to Goody. I mean, it can only be to the benefit of the club. I can't see. I mean, yeah, some signings won't work out, but I've just got a funny feeling that this could be a real good fit for Rob Jones and for Clyde.
Yeah, definitely. For anyone looking for that interview with Ali Love as well, we've put it up on the podcast Twitter. So that's at Clyde FC Podcast on Twitter. Really good interview. Go and have a look, guys. I think Ali Love is going to be key for us this season. As Craig mentioned earlier, he looks like a different type of monster this year. He looks a lot fitter. For the last few seasons, we've maybe said that you can have him for 70 minutes, and Danny's said that as well. And then he's done just because he puts in so much effort. He looks as if he could go for 180 this season, and I've always said that he's very vocal, and he's the perfect complement to Goodwillie in that captaincy role as well, because he was shouting, "Get that ball moving, guys!" Motivating them. If we're down in a game, he'll certainly be the one to shout and scream at them to get them up. And he's got that affinity with the fans as well. So Ali Love definitely going to be one of the key players for me this year.
I think one of the earlier comments on tonight's show said that we've got something like 3 or 4 captains now.
Aye.
I don't see that as a bad thing. I really don't. No. You cannot have enough talkers on the pitch.
That was always one of Danny's things as well, about the atmosphere and the changing room, and how important it was to get the right type of people in. And hopefully we've seen that over the couple of games that we've watched, the 2 or 3 games that we've watched. They all seem to mix and complement each other really well. That can only be a good thing as well.
Yeah, from a brief glance as well, you look at all the areas in the pitch that, you know, could have those potential 3-4 captains. Mitch at the back, always shouting, always talking. Balatoni, a leader already, a captain at Edinburgh, and looks to be settled in already. Gomez, Ali Love in the middle, David Goodwillie up top, and then Kevin Nicol off the pitch as well. He's always been lauded for his captaincy abilities, so great to see that we've got a lot of leaders now. Not to say that, you know, the guys in the past have, you know, maybe not fulfilled that role well, but I feel it's just something different this year with the group from, you know, what we've seen briefly. So yeah, lots of leaders.
Yeah, new look Clyde for a new season. I'm loving it. Graham Caldwell bringing up a point just on Danny, saying that he's a St Mirren fan, and Danny definitely wants players who are comfortable on the ball. Gomez is his type of player, and you might see more football from the back this season. From the 2 pre-season matches in the Broadwood Cup, that's all we did play. Now, with varying degrees, I think on the Saturday it did actually cost us a goal over playing in the second half. But on the Sunday, it just worked a lot better. It was sharp, it was crisp. You had Gomez dropping deep, he was taking the ball, driving it, or he was putting it out wide. Craig, did you find it refreshing without being too kind of down on their style of play last year?
Well, what I felt, it was more confident. I felt more at ease watching them than I did for the majority of last season. I thought that they just seemed to be more confident in the ball. They seemed to be as if they knew, I don't mean this the wrong way, as if they knew what they were doing. You know, there wasn't a degree of panic there. That everybody was comfortable on the ball, everybody wanted the ball, there were movement, there was quality, easy passes that we weren't making easy passes last season. We were trying to hit 45, 50 yard cross field diagonal worldies, and you know, rather than playing the game simple the way we had done a couple of seasons ago. No, I thought I was far more comfortable watching them on Saturday, especially on Sunday. I know it's a pre-season, I know that, and I know it, but it's still against a very good Airdrie team, and they will get better, Airdrie, without a doubt. You know, there's 10 subs in each team through those games, so we need to take it with a pinch of salt, I suppose, but definitely more confident.
Great points, Craig. I completely agree. On the pre-season games, you know, people can say it's just a pre-season game, doesn't matter. But see if you have those kind of, you know, passing styles, etc., that you've worked on in training, and they're working, you know, consistently. That's a really good sign that things are going to go your way this year. You know, it's just players knowing the systems. We now apparently have 2 or 3 systems that we could go to, which is great. I was at the game on Sunday with my partner, and she had noticed that the players were talking a lot more, and I have to give her credit. She's called it spot on. You know, I think that's something that we're going to see a lot more of, and it can only be of benefit to us, because maybe last season the players were just maybe siloed in their own little areas, but I feel like this is going to be more of a team kind of talking and, you know, getting involved and getting on the ball and, you know, working on these systems, which can only help. So yeah, all positive stuff.
I think, remember last season as well, and no disrespect to the younger guys that came through, but the guys were really at the start of their learning curve. You know,
yeah.
A bulk of the players that he's brought in are well beyond that. You know, we've spoke how many appearances they've had. We're into over 1,000 appearances between, I think, 4 of them. You know, so they're not needing to learn the game. They just need to fit in with each other. And once they've got that mesh even better, then the young guys will benefit out of that as well. You know, it's a better mix of age group. I know we used to say you can't win anything with kids, and of course you can do it if you've got brilliant under 20-year-olds. But you know what I'm trying to say. There's guys there that don't need to relearn a game of football.
Yeah.
You don't need to learn where they're going to have to move, how they're going to have to be. But they can bring the younger ones on, and it's not 6 or 7 younger ones this time. It'll be 2 or 3 at a time, or 1 or 2 at a game.
Yeah, I think what's important is we've got seasoned players in at every position, because maybe, people were looking to David Goodwillie to be that experience and Kevin Nicol, but, we've got young centre-backs and right-backs that are trying to learn their game as well and apply their trade, and maybe their style of play isn't suited to the younger guys. I mean, just looking at my notes here, we've got Billy Mortimer at right-back, we've got Owen Andrews, Kieran McGrath. All these players are young, hungry players that are sprinkled in that team, along with the experience. So I'm looking at it thinking we seem to have a really good ratio of experience to young players in each area, which is key for me.
And each bank as well, for defence, midfield and forward lines, you've got that mix in each bank.
But I don't think it's just that you've got your very young players and you've got your experienced edge. You've got that nice group as well of the guys maybe 24, 25, 26 years old, kind of really finding their feet in their career. So it's not just, as I said, that kind of really young or really old players. It's a real good blend, and I think that is going to be key, a real kind of key element. Couple of points, just before they come off screen here. Martin Brown talking about the Wraith game, saying that we looked comfortable as well, even though we had to play in our pyjamas. Wasn't quite our pyjamas, Martin, but I do get the point. We were wearing training tops and Wraith shorts, I believe that.
David Goodwillie should be playing in a training top at all times with that performance.
Aye, in 20
it made him more aerodynamic. Well.
Aye. And Martin Brown does agree with you, boys, on talking about Billy Mortimer, one to watch. What did you make of Billy Boyce just in general over the 2 games? He came on as a sub in the Airdrie game, but he did start against Albion Rovers. Yeah,
so I was fortunate enough to be able to watch the game on Saturday, kind of higher up doing the commentary. And Mortimer for me was my man of the match. I thought he was brilliant. A lot of pace, a lot of energy. I'm not going to use that word that I use all the time, Paul. You'll just call me out on it, but it was. He seems to like a tackle as well. Now, this coming from a lad who's made 80 appearances for Queen's Park. He's moved to Cumbernauld Colts in February, and then I believe he was also a striker at Queen's Park as well. So maybe he gets into those positions and can put a few goals away as well. But from what I saw at the weekend, he looks really good. He looks really polished and comfortable on the ball. And I love a fullback that loves to fly into tackles. So certainly want to watch. Flying into tackles successfully, I might add.
He did look good in the ball as well, but energy-wise, he was superb. Went up and down that flank. And not frightened to put a ball in, not frightened to put a tackle in.
I think that's something Danny touched upon after he signed, was his quality across his into the box. So he will be looking for Billy to get into that final third or close to it and get some good quality in for like a good Rob Jones, Ali, etc. So again, if it comes off, it can only be positive.
Yeah, I noticed as well with Danny's comments for all of our signings that, you'd obviously like to think this, but it's good to see. They've went out as a management team and a recruitment team, and they've clearly had an idea of who they want, and they've ticked all the boxes and they've brought them into training. So I feel like we've done everything, as we should do. It's not, we're panicking here, picking players, because as I said at the start, it was a bit slow, to begin with, and I think people were starting to panic. But I feel like we've got the right players and the first and maybe second choices in some occasions of what Danny wanted. So, again, can only be good.
The other thing is there's still the opportunity to bring in loan signings as well.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Who knows what that can give us too.
Just on what you were saying there about kind of the lack of, or perceived lack of signings at the start, up until I think even at present, we have the joint second biggest squad in League One. There's actually quite a few teams. Falkirk have only got 16, I believe, signed players at the moment, and a few others. I think Dumbarton around 17, 18, possibly more. I could be wrong. Please feel free to correct me in the comments. But we actually do have one of the bigger squads in the league. Regardless if we maybe feel that it could still be improved upon, the numbers are there at present. So just to throw that out there.
Yeah, I think Dumbarton and Airdrie have just swapped players though. Like,
to be fair, I think they have. Yeah, Airdrie seemed very keen. I think at one point there was a hat trick of Dumbarton, ex-Dumbarton subs that came on for Airdrie in the 3-0 game. So
yeah,
Mark Stewart is
you're being corrected, Pub.
Right. So,
thanks,
but we're
Mark.
at 21, so we're ahead of Airdrie. We're ahead of Airdrie. That'll do. So, just looking at a comment here from George McClucky on Facebook. Thanks for joining us, George. Playoffs is a realistic option, and I'm hoping that you mean the promotion ones here, George. But we'll take it. We'll take it that it is the positive. Yeah, I think it is. I do. It will be extremely difficult, though. I don't think we cannot miss the fact that this is going to be the toughest of the League One kind of squads that we'll face since we've been promoted. I don't think that's unfair to say. Last year was tough. You had Thistle, Falkirks and Coves. But this year it just seems to be a wee bit tougher. Earlier on, we never even mentioned Montrose when we were talking about the promotion hopefuls, and they will more than likely be right up there. They've kept the majority of their squad, probably improved it in certain areas as well. Stuart Petrie is one of the best managers around in the leagues in Scotland, in my opinion, too. So it's going to be tough, but why don't we aim for it? Why not? We've got Danny and Alan at the helm.
That's right. I think one of the things, it's going to be very cutthroat, because looking at the way from last season and to how we've recruited this season, everybody's going to be everybody. So I don't really see one team running away with it at all. I think everybody will take points from each other, and we need to be ready to capitalise on that.
Yeah, I think it's about consistency for who's going to win the league or go up this year. With the league being so competitive, we've seen that so many times. A good run of form can win you. You know, Thistle last season, Falkirk, unfortunately for them, you know, running short at the end. But if we can get a good start, with everything kind of normalising a wee bit and kind of things working in our favour and being consistent, I don't see why we couldn't aim for that fourth spot at a minimum. I think as a squad, that's what we'll be doing, because you're not going to go into a new season full of optimism if you're aiming for, you know, 8th or 9th, in my opinion. So, yeah, absolutely. Why not? 4th.
4th will go for it.
And I think that was Craig's dog in the background agreeing with us there. So moving on, and it brings me to the latest comment that comes in. We're looking ahead to the League Cup campaign, which starts on Tuesday. It starts off with a home match against League 2 Stranraer, who reached the playoffs last year. Unfortunately for them, weren't able to make it past Dumbarton, who obviously managed to stay up via the playoffs. Craig, coming to yourself, are you looking to see perhaps the same starting 11 that played against Airdrie against
I don't know.
Stranraer?
I think, as we spoke about, there's not many options that he's got for each position, so I don't know who's going to start. I have absolutely no idea. The one thing I'm pleased about is it's a home game, rather than us having to go away down to Stranraer for the midweek. I think, and the big bonus being 480 fans there as well, which is just, I think that's going to be a massive difference to us this season. Massive difference.
Yeah, we've touched on the performances and stuff of the players, but having fans back, it was great to see. You know, it's lovely to see the faces of everyone again and seeing the smiles as you're telling a linesman to get back down the line. So we've all missed it.
So yeah, on top of Stranraer, we do have Kilmarnock, East Kilbride, and Morton. I think I've got the other four there. Yeah. Boise, would you be looking to change too many things, or would you be quite happy to see the same starting 11 from Airdrie to Stranraer?
Yeah. First of all, sorry, there seems to be a pack of dogs outside my house. So yeah, for the Stranraer game, I think Martin says it in the comments. Well, we can rotate now, which is a great thing, and it can be seen as a luxury. I say that this game could be treated as, an extended pre-season, kind of trying to sort stuff out for the league. Now, I know a lot of clubs will kind of treat it that way as well. That's the chat about it. It's a good opportunity to, try things in a competitive environment for the league. And I think with the boys that we've got, if we do a little hybrid squad of starting 11 players for what we think will be, starting in the league, and youngsters wanting to kind of prove that they can make that first 11, then I think we should have a bit about us. No disrespect to Stranraer in any way, but I think with the players that we've got, we should be winning that one at home. But yeah, I think a wee hybrid for me would be good, just so that Danny can, try and suss some more wee things out if needed.
Stranraer themselves have had a bit of an odd summer. They obviously lost their manager who moved to Dumbarton. They did sign very briefly, I believe, Mark Lamont, who then ended up at Alloa. So I'm not going to pretend I know too much about the squad, but I would agree with you, Boise. I think if we turn up and we play the way that it look as though that we're kind of shaping up to, playing that nice crisp passing kind of through the middle of the park, we should be looking to win this with relative ease without being too disrespectful. We should be looking to win this with a wee bit to spare, and then throw in some kind of guys, the younger guys, for some game time.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, we look as if we've got a proper system now that the boys know. So if we play those key players in these competitive games, your Gomez's, your Splains, your Ballatonis, you can sprinkle, the players that, Danny might not start at the first couple of games of the season, and it should still work because you've got that system and everyone knows what their job is and everyone knows what to do. So I think in many ways it could be a dress rehearsal if the unfortunate thing happens and players are out. See where we stack up, if we need more backup players, if we need more loanees, etc. I would be using the cup for that. Obviously, I would like a cup run. It would be nice to get out of one of these Betfred groups one year. And to be honest, I'm personally looking forward to a wee away trip to East Kilbride. I think that'll be really good if we can get tickets.
Yeah, tickets are at a premium for these matches now. You're leading me perfectly on there, Boise. Just on the Stranraer match, I believe there still are tickets available, so do get in. You cannot pay at the gate. There will be a stream service available for the match for those that can't make it, so do keep a lookout on the website for details on that. Just a quick reminder as well, it's a 7:30 kickoff, not 7:45. So 7:30 PM kickoff on Tuesday. If you're late, you're going to miss a few goals, hopefully, for the Clyde. So
such a good ticketing system as well. It worked really well at the weekend, really smooth and efficient. Yeah.
Now, on options, I'm going to throw this out here. We are still in the midst of this COVID, this lovely thing that we're all going through. Now, 2 teams have already had to forfeit matches due to potential outbreaks, I believe, in the squad, Ross County and Dumbarton. Now, if we do lose players, we really need those options. We were very, very light on options last year. So it's something that we still need to just keep, hopefully at the back of our minds, but we've got to keep it there. Things can go wrong still with the current world and climate we're living in.
That's right. The one thing about it though, the players that we've got, or the size of squad that we've got, they're all going to push each other on. They're all going to be fighting for those starting places. which is a great thing that we never really had that last season, or towards the tail end of last season. Anyway, we were struggling for numbers at points. But you're right, one outbreak, one cluster could be very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, we are hopefully coming to the end of it with all the vaccines and having a robust vaccination plan moving forward. But, the unfortunate can still happen while that's all up in the air with people getting their second jabs. So it's good to see that we have that depth. It was good to see from the games that I've seen and been there in person at the weekend that the boys all seem to, have a wee jibe with each other and seem to be forming a good wee group already. And as Craig mentioned, you've got players that will push each other for the starting places, which is not only good for, the competition of the squad, but if the unlikely thing happens, we've got the confidence that someone can step in and fill those shoes and contribute. So, yeah, just fingers crossed everyone's okay. And I'd also like to say that I hope all the players and staff involved with the Ross County and Dumbarton are okay and they recover well.
Yep. You're here, boys. So Mark Stewart's given us his top four. He's went Airdrie, I think he spelt Clyde wrong there, Falkirk and Montrose.
He spelt Clyde with an A
and a V in the middle of the minute. It's odd. Only joking. You're absolutely right to have your opinion, Mark. And not many would probably disagree with that. I think on basis of squads, I think they're probably up there with the four stronger.
The exciting thing is that could change. It's going to be a really good league next season.
Yep. And there's plenty of things that, not just COVID, that can come into a football season and just flip it on its head, really. And that's the joy of football, isn't it?
So, also I believe Martin was talking about the streams for the pay-per-view. Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there is a stream for the Stranraer game on Tuesday. Yep,
there is. And the details, if it's not already on the website, should be on the next couple of days. So there is a stream, and there will be, I believe, also for the Kelly match. And I've got a wee update or just to do before we finish on that later. But yeah, there will be streams available for the League Cup ties.
Yeah, which I think is a positive to come out of this whole thing as well. For all lower league clubs, it will get extra money in, and everyone can enjoy some highlights and live matches.
Especially if you can't get to the games, it's some of your fan base is a bit older. I don't mean that disrespectful to anybody, but maybe not so able to get there anymore. So it's keeping them in touch.
Yep, and it's so good to see bodies through turnstiles again, or through the door that was open rather than the turnstile of the weekend. But it brought back that feeling of just going to a game again. It was magic, Craig. I know you were still getting soaked pitch side, but for the rest of us sitting dry up in the stand, it was enjoyable magic, for us, mate. It was so good.
It was brilliant. There's obviously a few notable absences who are no longer with us that are very, very sadly missed and close to my heart in particular. But it was, what a difference. You can see everybody goes on about mental health these days, which is brilliant to talk about. You can see the difference that football makes to people, and the coming together of people as well was excellent.
Yeah, got to say as well, Craig, full credit to yourself for capturing those images as well. I think it goes under the radar, how much great work you do for the club as well. So just want to say thanks for that.
Cheers,
my wife's stepping into the comments now saying, did the two podcast hosts enjoy their commentary duties at the NL Cup? What is easier, that or the podcast? I will take this, the podcast, every day of the week.
I'll take commentary. I loved it. Channel my inner Ali McCoist. Absolutely.
Does that mean we can kick you off the pod, mate? No.
Really
I'm joking.
Please don't. This makes my Friday nights.
Yeah, it was very different. I'll say that. I enjoyed it, but it was very, very different. It took me a while to get going. So apologies if you bought that stream and I ruined it for you. So
both of you were very focused. I kept trying to phone you and text you to give me a wave to get a picture using blank me.
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed it, Lynn. I think I maybe get a wee bit carried away with Ali loves antics, and one of his shots, I forgot I was being recorded, but yeah, it was good fun.
Did you
Was
see
that
that? Because I couldn't hear his. I wasn't watching it on the stream, obviously, but I was waiting on a wowee moment coming getting played back to me. Did you do it?
Yeah, I think we're not this time. I think me and Paul, if we get the opportunity to move forward with it, we'll need our own catchphrases. But
maybe we can open it up
apologies.
to the comments.
Yeah.
What do you guys want us to use as a catchphrase the next time Goody rattles one in?
It's got to be
if
PC,
we're back in commentary. Yeah, please keep it PC.
And apologies to Ali Love as well. When he was, I think we were saying he should have played the ball, but then he rattled in that free kick. So never doubt you again, Ali.
So after Tuesday, we do have, we will be back to discuss in depth the Kilmarnock match and looking back on Tuesday. Just on Kilmarnock, the ticket allocation for this match now, it's still obviously a reduced crowd, 480. The club would just like to emphasise for Clyde fans looking to attend, please get your tickets as soon as possible. I believe last season, season card holders, current club owners, etc., should have received an email with the details to get these before the kind of general sale, which I believe will be tomorrow. And I believe it then gets opened up to Kilmarnock fans some point early next week. Now, the best case scenario would be to have 480 Clyde fans sitting in that stand. So if we can, let's do it. We've all been waiting to get back into the stadium. Let's make sure that every single bum on a seat that night is wearing the famous white jersey cheering on our boys. So please get in as soon as possible to avoid disappointment and missing out on tickets.
No, absolutely. 480 Clyde fans at home would be fantastic and, really push the boys on. That is us covered for, competitive football. I think there's one event this weekend that we've still to discuss.
Okay,
with Clyde.
take it away, boys.
The fans versus fans game. Now, for anyone that hasn't been involved in this before, it's a fantastic day for players that are playing in it. And for fans coming down to watch. So that is, I believe, open for anyone that wants to come down and watch. I will be playing, so if you want to come down and shout abuse at me for not running quick enough, then feel free.
I'll be there, don't worry.
And I'll be there, but I won't be playing. No chance. I'll be there taking your picture.
Danny likes to utilise my pace on the left wing sometimes, so we'll see how that turns out.
That's obviously one of Danny's more questionable decisions in his managerial career then.
It's just doing it for a laugh, isn't it?
Honestly, guys, it's a great day, and it's great to see other Clyde fans playing inside the stadium. So if you do want to pop down, it's free entry as well.
Are there any spaces left, do you know, boys, or is it sold out?
I think there might be a couple of spaces left. If anyone would like to inquire about that, just email the club or message the podcast account, and we can get you in touch with the right people to play at Broadwood.
Yeah, it's a great experience, albeit I think the last time we all there, the vast majority of us were very, very hungover because it was a 12 o'clock kick-off the day after we won promotion. So whoever planned that one out, well, they weren't in my good books, let's put it that way. But it was great all the same, even though my team get from 7-1. Anyways, Martin, no, the Fans v Fans match will not be pay-per-view, but maybe something the club should look in the future. It could be an absolute... I think that could sell. It could. I mean, you could send it to you being framed, mind you, but it would sell. It would sell. Right, gents, it's been a pleasure. It's been great to be back. Thank you, everyone, for getting involved. It's a new season, and we will be with you every step of the way, whether it's good and bad and all the other stuff in between. We're going to cover it for you. If you want to get involved in the podcast, if you want to come on as a guest or a host, please also get in touch. We're always looking for new contributors. We've obviously got ourselves, we've got Lynn, Dean and Graham, once he gets his Wi-Fi actually working, that do obviously help us as well. So the more the better. This is This is all about inclusion. It's your club. Get involved. Let everyone else know what your opinion is. And if you want to come on and tell Boyce to shut up, tell me to shut up. Come on. It's an open forum.
Absolutely. We're all for it. One last thing before we go off, Paul.
Yep.
It's just, you mentioned about, fans getting involved in the club. There's a lot of shirt sponsorship still available for players. It's details can be found on the podcast Twitter or the club website. It's £150 for the jersey. You get an autographed jersey at the end of the season of your chosen player, acknowledgement in the programme and website. There's still quite a few players without sponsorship who I imagine would really appreciate the support, and all the money goes to the club, obviously. We as a podcast are delighted to announce that we are sponsoring Morgaro Gomez for his home top this season.
It's not the only reason why we've been bigging him up. He is a great player, but
we're fully behind you, Morgaro.
Yeah.
But yeah, just get involved, guys. It's a great venture by the club.
Absolutely. Okay, gents. So on that, we will be back next Friday. Again, thank you all for watching. Craig, John, thank you for your valued input as always, gentlemen. And until next time.